I hated the final episode of Malcolm in the Middle for several reasons. Despite the show generally being one of my all-time favourites, I feel it lacked a satisfying ending and send-off for the characters. Before I break down exactly why, let me share what, in my opinion, makes a great series final. A great series final typically provides closure to key storylines, resolves character arcs, and offers a satisfying conclusion that aligns with the overall tone and theme of the series. Consistency, emotional resonance, and leaving room for interpretation can contribute to a memorable ending. Now, regarding this specific episode, it's not about what happens during its duration. I believe it's well executed, especially Malcolm's graduation, which is a fitting final story. However, my primary issue lies with the ending of the ending, the last few minutes to be exact. Allow me to explain why. This episode's ending ends on a good, light-hearted note, with a speech from Malcolm at his graduation. No issues here. We then fast forward to 3 months later, and the issues begin to emerge. I think the best way to do this is to show you a short clip and tell you why I dislike it.
Mom, should we do something like this? Oh, hell, for God's sake, don't touch it!
Man, if Mom ever found out it was the two of us. Hey.
You see, this is the last time we see Dewey and Jamie, yet they are both clearly up to no good. Some viewers might think this is classic naughty behaviour, a staple of the show. But I don't think Dewey was as mischievous as his older brothers, and I believe it would have been a better send-off showing him helping Jamie stay out of trouble, rather than falling into the same cycle. Yes, Dewey still got into trouble during the show, but his character was shown to be much more mature and helpful as the seasons went on. There is an entire arc of the show where he helps out other kids in his class. It would have been nice to end off Dewey being a good older brother and pushing Jamie in the right path, rather than continuing the reign of terror.
The 5 settings heating pad. You listen to me, you really do.
Someone's cake is ready.
This scene is probably the best of the send-offs, as we do see Reese again later, and it's nice to see Craig actually happy for once. See, this is how an ending should be, leaving us with a nice taste in our mouths, not a sour one.
Mom, you can yell and scream all you want. It's not gonna change me. I will look for a job when I am damn good and ready. You just can't stand that your son is still a free spirit.
Chicken casserole for dinner?
Home at 5.
Another send-off that really bugs me. I love that Francis and Piyama stay together, but it's infuriating that Lois and Francis's relationship ends on an argument. Despite Francis having a job, he still decided to lie for some reason. Like, couldn't we have had a scene where he's at work and uses some advice Lois has given him to get the job done, and then he looks away and smiles or something, showing that maybe he had finally come to peace with how he believes Lois treated him unfairly as a kid. It would have been even better if they gave Francis a more creative job, like an inventor or something. I know that's a bit far-fetched, but he was always an out-of-the-box thinker. It would have been nice to see that paid off.
This is so nice. Reese is gone, Malcolm's off to Harvard. I don't know how you did it, but everything worked out exactly as planned. What's wrong?
Another depressing scene, and sadly the last time we see both Lois and Al. I understand that this is meant to be funny, and I can see the humour that they really can't catch a break, as this will be their 6th unplanned baby. But why is this episode so obsessed with leaving almost every character in a horrible place? Wouldn't it have been nice to see them happy for once? Maybe they win some money, or Hal gets a raise. That would have been so satisfying after the financial struggles they faced. But now I can't help but feel bad for them.
And when they found the peepholes in the bathroom, they fired Al and brought me on full time. Grandma's right, it's good to have a patsy. So how's it going with you, Mr. Ivy League big shot?
It's great. It's a whole new world. Listen, I've got to get to my cow pounds. I'll talk to you later.
Here is a moment that honestly is the whole reason I decided to make this video. Reese ending up as a janitor is perhaps the single worst choice the show could have made. It's insanely obvious to anyone who has seen the show that Reese should have ended up as a chef. Not only is this more of a respected job, but he completely lines up with his talents. I think the fact that they made Reese a janitor is a huge disservice to his character. I know Reese is the typical dumb character, but he deserves so much better. It's such an obvious missed opportunity. At least he seems happy, but it's not what myself and many other fans would have hoped for him. Lastly, Malcolm, who is also a janitor while studying at Harvard. You're probably thinking this is a pretty decent send-off for Malcolm, and you're partly right. Him being accepted into Harvard is a great choice, but the janitor side is where I disagree. It's implied he worked as a janitor to pay for his school tuition. But let's be honest, no janitor is making enough money to afford bloody Harvard. Those bills are insanely expensive. Secondly, why couldn't they just let Malcolm receive a scholarship? Seems like a logical conclusion. Both Reese and Malcolm becoming janitors is just a really bad choice. As you can tell by now, my biggest issue with this episode is not giving any of the characters a satisfying send-off, with most of the characters sadly leaving on a low and depressing note. I came to care for these characters over 7 seasons, and I believe they deserve better. After all, the wrongs life put this family through, they truly embodied life is unfair. But after so much suffering the family endured, it seemed a little depressing. And that is why I hated the last episode of Malcolm in the Middle. But most importantly, what do you think? Leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video. Also, if you made it this far, you might as well subscribe, you have nothing to lose. Thanks so much for watching my video. Don't forget to stay critical, and that's the end of the show.